Have you ever wondered what exactly prevents you from achieving success in love and money? What if I told you there are hidden forces that can influence your decisions without even allowing you to realize it? Today, we delve into the profound and transformative ideas of Carl Jung, which can change your perspective on relationships and finances. Jung argued that if you do not understand what is hidden in your psyche, you can never achieve true success. This is not just a theory. These are keys to understanding what drives you on the deepest level. In this discussion, we will explore how internal psychological patterns can impact your success in personal relationships and financial matters, and how awareness of these processes can help you change your life. Ready to learn what you need to understand to finally achieve the love and financial success you deserve? Let's dive in. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of the 20th century, proposed a unique approach to understanding the human psyche that has immense significance for our lives, especially in such crucial areas as love and money. One of the most important concepts put forward by Jung is the idea of the collective unconscious. This notion suggests that within our psyche exists not only an individual level, but also a collective level of unconscious processes that connect all people. The collective unconscious is filled with archetypes and universal symbols that influence our behavior and perception of the world, often subtly, yet significantly impacting our decisions and actions. Jung asserted that human consciousness is merely the tip of the iceberg, and most of our actions and decisions are motivated not by what we are aware of, but by what is hidden from our consciousness. These unconscious forces can influence our perceptions of love, money, success, as well as our choice of partners and the ways we manage our finances. Most intriguingly, the concept of the collective unconscious helps explain why we often make the same mistakes and repeat similar patterns in life without realizing it. When it comes to love, unconscious archetypes exert a powerful influence on our relationships. According to Jung, we often attract people into our lives who symbolize those parts of our personality that we have rejected or are unaware of. We may choose partners who remind us of parents or other significant figures from our childhood, even if we do not consciously realize it. For example, a person who grew up with emotionally cold or insufficiently caring parents may unconsciously attract a partner with similar traits, despite being aware that they need someone more supportive and caring. This process is rooted in the archetypes that exist in the collective unconscious. Archetypes are universal images and behavior models that are passed down through generations and influence us, even if we are unaware of their presence. For example, the hero or savior archetype may lead us to choose partners who are our saviors. Conversely, we might start seeking people to save in an attempt to compensate for a lack of support we feel in our own lives. Understanding these unconscious mechanisms can be key to improving our relationships. Jung asserted that we must learn to recognize our unconscious patterns and work with them to break free from cycles of repeating mistakes. This does not mean abandoning our archetypes altogether, but rather understanding their influence on us, to avoid falling into traps of old patterns and repeating past mistakes. When we start to realize how our unconscious projections influence our relationships, we become more conscious in our choices. We begin to attract people into our lives who align with our true values, rather than the archetypes we subconsciously seek to recreate from the past. This awareness process helps create more harmonious and healthy relationships, where partners can be themselves and support each other without needing to play roles. But the influence of the collective unconscious is not limited to romantic relationships. It also bears great significance for our perception of money and financial success. Many people face financial difficulties in their lives without realizing that their relationship with money is shaped by unconscious archetypes and beliefs absorbed during childhood or even earlier, during socialization. For instance, if someone grew up in a household where money was a constant source of conflict and anxiety, they might carry these experiences into adulthood, feeling that money is something dangerous or corrupt. Jung emphasized that the collective unconscious includes not only individual experience, but also cultural, historical, and social archetypes passed down through generations. This is also reflected in our attitude toward money. In some cultures, there exists an archetype of poverty or victimhood, where money is perceived as something unattainable or unjust. In others, money is associated with power and status, and those without enough resources may feel inadequate or unworthy. Internal beliefs about money can profoundly influence our behavior in this domain. Some people may avoid making financial decisions or be afraid to spend money because they feel an internal conflict that money should only be obtained through hard work and sacrifice. Others may pursue wealth accumulation as a way of compensating for feelings of inadequacy or insecurity they experienced in childhood. To overcome these unconscious patterns, it is necessary to become aware of them and start working with them. Jung believed that only through awareness and integration of these archetypes and unconscious blocks can true personal growth and success be achieved. This requires not only understanding how the past affects our present, but also being ready to change, learn to think, and act in new ways. In the context of love and money, awareness of these unconscious processes can significantly improve our ability to make more informed decisions. We can learn to recognize when our fears, projections, or beliefs unconsciously influence our actions and, accordingly, begin to make choices that will support our true well-being and success. This is the path to breaking free from old patterns and creating healthier and more prosperous relationships and financial growth. One of the central concepts in Carl Jung's psychology is the archetype. Archetypes are universal, primal images and symbols that exist in the collective unconscious and influence our behavior and perception of the world. These archetypes can be associated with various aspects of our lives, including love, money, power, and self-realization. Jung asserted that archetypes are not just abstract concepts. They have a profound impact on our daily actions, although we often do not realize this. One of the most powerful archetypes that influences our relationships and financial well-being is the hero archetype. This archetype represents a courageous and determined person willing to overcome obstacles and fight for their goals despite difficulties. In the context of love, the hero archetype may manifest in how we perceive the role of a partner. We may seek a partner who will save us or solve our problems, like a hero in myths and fairy tales. On the other hand, we may also strive to become this hero for someone else, trying to take on the role of protector or savior. However, while the hero archetype can be a source of inspiration and strength, it can also lead to relationship problems if we do not realize how its influence can distort our perception of partnership. If one partner sees themselves as the hero and the other as the victim, this can create an imbalance in the relationship, where one constantly feels the need to rescue the other. This can lead to feelings of exhaustion, dissatisfaction, and disappointment, as neither partner can maintain such an unnatural role indefinitely. To avoid such problems, it is important to recognize how the hero archetype manifests in our lives and understand that true healthy relationships require mutual respect and equality. Each partner must be ready not only for struggle, but also for joint overcoming of difficulties, rather than solving problems alone. When both people are capable of being heroes for themselves and each other, they can create a relationship where there is support, but also space for the growth and realization of each partner. In the financial context, the hero archetype can also manifest in our attitude toward money and success. People characterized by this archetype often strive for great achievements and success, but this can also lead to struggles with internal fears and insecurities. Sometimes they may perceive money as a symbol of their victory, confirmation of their strength, and ability to overcome difficulties. However, such an attitude toward money can lead to excessive risk-taking or even financial difficulties if a person starts measuring their value solely through material success. Jung also emphasized the importance of integrating opposing aspects of our personality to achieve harmony and wholeness. This applies to the hero archetype as well. It is important to recognize that while the hero archetype can be a source of strength, we also need to develop other qualities, such as humility, the ability to accept help, and work in a team. When we avoid excessive identification with the hero archetype and start perceiving our strengths and weaknesses more balanced, we become more whole and capable of building more harmonious relationships and a successful financial life. Another significant archetype that influences our perception of love and money is the mother archetype. This archetype represents the image of a caring, supportive, and protective figure, symbolizing security and care. In relationships, this archetype may manifest in how we perceive our role in relationships. We may seek a partner who will care for us, or, conversely, try to play the role of a mother for another person. However, as with the hero archetype, excessive identification with the mother archetype can lead to imbalance in relationships, where one partner constantly needs support and cannot take responsibility for their life. When it comes to money, the mother archetype can also affect our financial perception. People strongly expressed this archetype may seek financial security and stability, striving to accumulate funds and create a material base for themselves and their family. This can be positive, as striving for financial security is important for long-term well-being. However, excessive pursuit of security can also limit their ability to take risks and invest in higher goals. Such people may fear losing money, which restricts their financial opportunities. Jung emphasized the importance of awareness of these archetypes to integrate them into our lives and avoid excessive identification with them. For this, it is necessary to understand how archetypes can shape our perception of the world and learn to use them as tools for personal growth, not as templates that limit our potential. Archetypes do not fully define us, but they can significantly influence our life path. Jung believed that each of us must go through the path of integrating these archetypes to become a more whole person. This means recognizing our weaknesses, overcoming internal limitations, and learning to use our strengths to achieve success in love and money. Integrating archetypes, like the hero and mother, allows us not only to build more healthy and balanced relationships, but also to make more informed decisions in the financial sphere. Awareness of how these archetypes influence our actions enables us to make more harmonious decisions that support our growth and success. One of the most important and powerful concepts in Carl Jung's theory is the shadow. This term refers to those parts of our personality that we suppress or deny because they do not match our ideals or social expectations. The shadow consists of all those aspects of ourselves that we fear to accept, are ashamed of, or consider to be flaws. However, Jung argued that not only ourselves, but also our surroundings play an important role in the formation of this shadow. The influence of the social environment, cultural norms, and personal experiences can lead to us hiding certain traits from ourselves, which in turn affects our relationships and financial well-being. The shadow is of great significance for our personal life. If we reject or ignore certain aspects of our personality, we often project them onto other people. This means that we see in others what we do not want to see in ourselves. For example, if a person suppresses their aggressive side, they may be inclined to accuse others of aggressiveness, even if they are not. In relationships, this may manifest in us seeking a partner who will represent all those qualities that we are not ready to accept in ourselves. When we do not acknowledge our shadow, it becomes an unconscious force influencing our behavior and choices. Jung emphasized that accepting one's shadow is a necessary step on the path to self-realization and wholeness. Only by acknowledging our dark sides and integrating them into our personality can we achieve harmony and inner peace. This means that instead of suppressing our fears, weaknesses, or aggression, we need to learn to recognize them and work with them. Relationships where partners do not acknowledge their shadow are often filled with conflicts. When one partner projects their internal fears and suppressed feelings onto the other, it creates tension and misunderstanding. For example, if one partner does not acknowledge their vulnerabilities, they may perceive the other's vulnerability as a threat and react with aggression or defensiveness. In these cases, it is important to realize that conflict in relationships is often a result of not acknowledging our own shadow aspects. Acknowledging the shadow in relationships means that we must learn to be honest, not only with others, but also with ourselves. Jung taught that to truly develop, we must confront those parts of ourselves that we ignore or deny. This requires courage and willingness to self-analyze. But, as Jung demonstrated, it is an unavoidable stage on the path to wholeness. This knowledge also has immense significance for our perception of money and financial success. The shadow, as with personal relationships, can affect how we relate to money. For instance, individuals who grew up in poverty may suppress their desire to earn money or aim for financial success because they may have deeply ingrained beliefs that money is something bad or unworthy. This might manifest as a fear of money or shame for wanting to be wealthy. Meanwhile, a person who denies their shadow and begins striving for financial success might face the issue where their drive for money becomes obsessive and destructive. This can lead to financial difficulties or even a moral crisis if a person starts perceiving money as the main criterion for their value or success. Jung stressed the importance of becoming aware of one's hidden beliefs about money so that they do not become a source of internal conflicts. Accepting one's shadow in the financial context means that we must learn to be honest with ourselves about how we perceive money and what beliefs guide them. This includes recognizing how our inner fears, insecurities, or moral constraints influence our financial decisions. Awareness of these factors helps us approach money more balanced and make informed financial decisions, ultimately achieving greater success. The shadow should not be perceived as something negative. Indeed, it is a source of our energy and strength. When we integrate our shadow, we become more whole and powerful individuals. This allows us to show greater flexibility and wisdom in relationships and make more deliberate financial decisions. Acknowledging one's shadow and working with it helps us not only understand ourselves, but also interact with the world more consciously. One way to work with the shadow is through reflection, regularly becoming aware of one's internal states, fears, and projections. This might include keeping a journal, meditation, or psychotherapy that helps us notice those aspects of our personality we usually ignore. Working with the shadow is a constant process, and the more we become aware of our internal mechanisms, the more conscious our actions and decisions become. Jung also emphasized that the shadow is not limited to personal experience alone. Social and cultural norms often impose limitations on what we can and cannot express in ourselves. For example, in some cultures, showing emotions is considered a weakness, which can lead to suppression of feelings, and as a result, strengthening the shadow aspects of the personality. Awareness of such social and cultural norms and their influence on our personality is also an important part of working with the shadow. Integrating the shadow helps us become more complete people, which is reflected both in our relationships and financial success. By accepting our weaknesses, fears, and contradictions, we can free ourselves from internal conflicts and begin to act with greater confidence and clarity. Acknowledging the shadow allows us to be more honest, open, and mature, leading to a more successful and harmonious life. One of the deepest and most transformative concepts in Carl Jung's psychology is the process of individuation. This process describes the path of self-discovery and personal growth, in which a person strives to integrate various aspects of their personality, both conscious and unconscious, to achieve true harmony within themselves and realize their full potential. Individuation is not just a process of self-discovery, but also a process of accepting and integrating those parts of us that we often prefer to ignore or reject. Jung asserted that to be a whole person, one must embrace their wholeness by acknowledging both the light and dark sides of the personality. However, often fear of the dark sides of our personality, or of not meeting societal expectations, hinders us from pursuing this path. This is especially true in areas like relationships and finances, where people often distance themselves from their true desires and needs, influenced by external pressure or limiting beliefs. Individuation is essentially a path to deep self-awareness and building an authentic identity. Along this path, a person realizes that growth is not about following social norms or living up to external expectations, but exploring and accepting the many facets of one's being. This includes those aspects that we might perceive as vulnerable, imperfect, or unnecessary, but that are, in fact, integral to our personality. In the context of romantic relationships, the process of individuation includes a deeper understanding of both oneself and another person. We often look for a partner to reflect those qualities that we have not yet recognized in ourselves or are not ready to accept. For example, someone who struggles to express their emotions may be attracted to a partner with a distinctly emotional nature, hoping that this person will fill the missing part. However, this can lead to an imbalance where neither partner takes responsibility for their feelings, instead redirecting them onto each other. The process of individuation teaches us that to be truly free and happy in relationships, we must first learn to be whole within ourselves, accept our strengths and weaknesses, and understand our emotional needs. When we do this, we become more balanced, and our relationships become more authentic, based on mutual respect and understanding. In the financial sphere, the process of individuation also plays an important role. Our values and beliefs about money are often shaped by upbringing, cultural norms, and personal experience. We may have deeply ingrained beliefs, such as money is evil or being rich is immoral. These beliefs may limit our financial well-being, creating internal conflicts. On the other hand, a person who ignores their shadow and excessively strives for wealth may confront excessive obsession with money, leading to the destruction of moral guidelines and possibly financial problems. Individuation in the financial context means that we need to learn to be honest with ourselves about how we perceive money and what beliefs drive them. This involves recognizing how our fears, insecurities, or hidden desires influence our financial behavior. Awareness of these factors helps us approach money more balanced and make more informed decisions, which ultimately can lead to greater success in the financial sphere. The process of individuation also requires integrating opposites. Every person consists of many different parts, and these parts are often opposites to each other. We can be both strong and weak, confident and uncertain, open and closed. These opposites create internal tension, which can be a source of stress, as well as a driving force for personal growth. Jung argued that the path to wholeness lies in acknowledging these opposites and integrating them into consciousness. In relationships, opposites often manifest in that we seek a partner who will complement us. We often attract people into our lives who embody those qualities we do not recognize in ourselves or are not ready to accept. For example, a person who is too rational and controls their emotions may unconsciously attract a partner who is more emotional and spontaneous. This dynamic can be both a source of harmony and a cause of conflict. When we begin to recognize these opposites within ourselves, we learn to integrate them, which allows us to interact with a partner more healthily. Jung also emphasized the importance of working with inner archetypes and the shadow. We often strive to avoid or hide those sides of ourselves that we consider undesirable, or that may provoke rejection from others. However, as practice shows, acceptance and work with these sides make us stronger and more whole individuals, capable of coping with life's challenges, including in personal relationships and the financial sphere. Individuation is not the final stage. It is a continuous process that continues throughout life. Constant development and integration of different aspects of personality allow us to become more mature, confident, and happy people. It is important to remember that every step on the path of individuation opens up new horizons for us, helping us move towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In conclusion, Carl Jung's ideas provide us with a unique and powerful foundation for deep self-discovery and personal growth. He taught us that true success, whether in love, finances, or life in general, cannot be achieved without the acceptance and integration of all aspects of our personality. Through accepting our shadow, understanding our internal conflicts and opposites, and the path of individuation, we open the possibility for true growth and wholeness. This process requires courage and a willingness to look into the deepest corners of our consciousness, and the ability to recognize and work with those parts of us that we often try to hide or run from. As we have seen, our internal beliefs, fears, and suppressed desires can significantly influence our relationships and financial decisions. The process of individuation helps us understand why we behave the way we do, and how our past experiences, societal expectations, and personal fears can dictate our behavior. However, only through awareness of these mechanisms and integration of the various parts of our personality can we become more whole, confident, and successful. Jung also emphasized that development and self-realization are not an end goal, but an ongoing process. We should always be ready for self-improvement, awareness of our weaknesses, and their integration into our personality. Individuation is a path that helps us become more harmonious people, capable of overcoming any life difficulties with more wisdom and maturity. In the context of love and relationships, it is important to remember that when we begin to understand and accept all parts of our personality, we can build healthier, more mature, and happier relationships. Partners who are aware of their weaknesses and vulnerabilities can interact more openly and honestly with each other, making the relationship stronger and more harmonious. As for finances, awareness of our internal blocks and beliefs about money allows us to make more informed and conscious financial decisions. We free ourselves from limiting beliefs that may hinder us from achieving success and prosperity. When we begin to realize that wealth and financial stability can be part of our lives, we open up new opportunities for growth and achieving our goals. Acceptance of the shadow, awareness of the opposites within ourselves, and integration of all these aspects help us move toward a fuller and more harmonious life. This process is not easy, and it often requires work on oneself. But it is through this that we can achieve a true internal balance, which, in turn, affects all areas of our life. We live in a world that often demands that we follow standards and achieve success according to certain rules. But it is important to remember that true strength comes from within, from accepting ourselves and our uniqueness. When we begin to build our lives on genuine wholeness, we open new horizons for personal and professional growth. This path is not always easy, but it invariably leads us to a greater understanding of ourselves and others, opening doors to a more conscious and successful life. So, if you want to continue on your path of self-discovery and self-improvement, it is important not to stop at what you have achieved. Apply these ideas in your life. Build deeper and more sincere relationships. Take charge of your financial destiny and keep developing. Remember, the path to inner harmony and success begins with you, and only you can change your life by starting with accepting your wholeness. If this video resonates with you, leave this affirmation in the comments. I embrace my whole self. Writing it down is a powerful step toward internal alignment. You begin to turn insight into transformation. It also shows us that our work truly matters to someone. We're already working on the next video to expand on this topic, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Wishing you the best.